Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is presenting Pet Psychic AMINAH. We've got a really important topic that we're going to be discussing today. What we can do, not you, not him, not her, we collectively can do to save Mother Earth. Let's welcome Pet Psychic AMINAH. Come on out. Hello. Hey, good to see you.
Sorry, I am already out of the closet. That's as far as we get. I couldn't resist with the way you prepped that. It was too good.
Well, it's, I've thought many times that we should change the title of this show because we don't talk so much about your being a psychic. We really talk about coexistence and sustainability, which are really important topics. And we've covered so many different areas that I feel that more people would understand what it is exactly that we're talking about. So let's have a conversation.
I agree completely. Because I preface it when I pass it out, and I'm like, I know it's titled "How Do Dogs Blah Blah Blah," but we didn't actually get too many dogs.
That's right.
There's so much to talk about, and you're great at keeping me focused. And in the beginning, I just, there's just so much to share. I didn't know how long our relationship, would work. And we just, I went full throttle, and you let me, and now you really well keep me reined in on the topic because it is so broad, and there's no more time. It's not like we can say, let's do this next year. We might not have it next year. Have you realized the trees will be gone?
I know.
We'll be hungry. The world will be dead.
114th episode.
Wow.
And there's 52 weeks in a year. So it's been more than 2 years. It's amazing. And I thought of you the other day. I have a video. I don't know if I can actually bring it up. This is not it. I'm going to see if I can find it. But it was of a mother duck with her ducklings, and they were crossing the street, and one of the ducklings literally just sat down in the middle of the road and then got up, and you could see had something wrong with it.
Yeah.
And it was having a hard time. It made it over to the grass, but the mother kept going and never turned around to see if all of her little ducklings were with her. And people were stopping in the road. I was stopping and filming. And I thought, I wonder if I should do something. And when you think about saving Mother Earth and you think about all the creatures that are here, when we see a creature that's injured, do we get involved, or is it the law of natural selection? What would that mother duck have thought?
The truth is the second one. It is natural selection. She cannot afford to lose the lives of the 8, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever of her chicks in order to carry the load for one that has been born with a defect as far as their leg is turned. Something is wrong with their leg. So she is going to let them survive on their own terms. I really want to put this as nice as I can, but it is natural selection. Why are some animals caught? Some deer are caught by wolves and they're eaten. Why are some dogs, if it's a natural death, not running over by a car or something man-made, why didn't the parents do more? They're more concerned about the 5 that are living that the one that might never make it, because her life depends on that. Her life literally depends on taking care of the healthy ones and getting them to adulthood and letting them succeed, because they can. She can't go back and carry them and move them through the street. It's just the way nature works.
So, question, and thank you for sharing that. As an observer, do we get involved? Do we go and get the little duckling and take it home and try to do something with it, take it to a vet? Or it's hard to watch something struggle.
It is really hard to watch. And I struggle with it my whole life. I'm not good at sitting by and letting something suffer. But what I want everybody to hear is then you are taking responsibility for that life. If you intervene, if you decide, I just can't let this little one get hit by a car. If this mother is not able, and a lot of people think, oh, she's neglected them. No, she's trying to keep the other 5, 6, 7 alive. The ones that can make it, to adulthood. She is going to spend her very small amount of ability, one geese, duck. There's not a whole family there helping her. It's just her. And she's got to choose the healthy ones. That's just the way it was. So if you do decide to step in, you need to make some very quick decisions. Are you knowledgeable? If not, do you have the ability to get the knowledge? Do you have the ability to get them to a resource like a sanctuary that can raise him, possibly keep him in captivity for the rest of his life, but at least they will survive? You need to weigh your options. Can you Google it fast enough to say, how do I rescue a chick? How do I feed the chick? And the nice thing is about this animal specifically is you can literally go to a feed store that deals with farm animals. And the people that run the feed stores are highly, highly educated on grass and feed and goats and ducks and geese and all of that. And you could get your crash course on Google. You could go to YouTube channels. You can come to our types of channels and say, where do I go first? So let's say you run into USA Global TV and we're talking about rescuing animals. I'm going to give you those places to start. If you don't know the resources, you can always go to your feed store that deals with cattle and sheep and all that and say, do you know somebody I can talk to? What vet would you recommend that would really be able to steer me in the right direction? And Google is a fabulous thing. Ask Google what you need to look for. This day and age, there's enough resources that you can literally make a hutch, know if you need a heat lamp, how old and young this animal is. If you intervene with wildlife, I really need to slow down and have everybody hear me. If you intervene with wildlife, it is technically illegal in many or all states. That doesn't mean you cannot, if you see a life and death situation, cannot scoop them up and take them to a wildlife rehabilitation center. Reach out to Fish and Wildlife, whatever is in your state. That's what we call it here, Fish and Wildlife. And release the animal over to them. They are legally capable, able to decide what happens with this animal. If it's survivable, if it is not, if it needs to be euthanized humanely, they will make all those decisions. But legally, you need to either be a licensed rehabilitationist, or you need to legally, you need to hand it over to somebody who is fit, like Fish and Wildlife.
Wow. I'm so glad that you shared that. I wasn't aware of that. And I
And
guess
so many people aren't. Thank God you're doing this. I
Yeah.
can't thank you enough for this platform, because every one of us are doing this type of work. And you're letting us have this voice. Dr. Jacalyn, I applaud you, because so many people don't know this small thing. Yes, you can save them, but maybe you're not the right person to get them to adulthood. Or what happens next? The duck lives with you for the rest of his life? Maybe, because there's a bonding thing. Every species has a bonding issue. So they look at you as mom now, or they look at you as a food source.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we, as animal people who are dealing with wildlife really, really want you to hear this. Please don't feed them. Please don't feed them. A bird feeder is different. It sits over here. The bird comes and goes. It doesn't really associate it per se with you unless you're there feeding them. So why, when they have wild geese coming to lakes and parks and everything, they really ask the people who are in the park to visit that day to please not feed them. Because then what do they look at us for? A food source. So they're going to, and if you've ever dealt with geese, wow, there's some opinionated birds there. They will literally poke at your car. They will run in the road to stop you. They will do about anything, especially now with all this global warming. Food sources are scarce. They're going to go for, hey, this one always had food, meaning us. Don't make yourself a food source. Help the animal, but don't be a food source.
Excellent point. Thank you for sharing that and for clarifying that. And when we think about saving Mother Earth, this is a question that I have, and we kind of explored a little bit of it, but where I live, we have a lot of iguanas, and they're either bright green or they have different shades. We usually have about 8 of them up on our roof, and they're pretty big. But the point is that somebody brought them here.
Right.
They're not native.
They're not native. They're not native, especially Florida has the biggest problem with exotics. I mean, you know this, you're living this reality.
Yes.
And because again, please, people, don't get a snake and say, oh, they're so cute, they're wonderful, and they're lovely. And then they get this big. You can't even see me on screen. I mean, my hands are out so far. And they go, oh, I'm just going to set it free. So what? It eats all the native animals. It decimates the bird population. It takes all the trees and leaves. Just name a resource, because they weren't meant to live in this neighborhood. However way you want it. Florida and a lot of really tropical states have a huge problem with this, because pythons and all of these things have been so popular. They literally have teams of people. And they have shows on TV. You can check this out, Animal Planet and all other kinds of things. And they show teams of people going out there and just trapping snakes. And I mean, they come back with 20 in a day. You know how hard it is to catch a big old snake? It is really hard. So that's a lot of snakes to be catching. They don't help the ecosystem. They devastate it.
You know what? That is my point of why I asked the question. So all creatures inhabit a certain area. That's where that's where they live.
This is God ordained. This is the resources. This is the water. This is the habitat. It's all ready to go.
And we go in and go, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have this where I live? And then we take them illegally and we bring them back. And now they're not in their natural environment.
Right.
And what ends up happening? So, for example, in this community where I live, it's literally overrun by iguanas.
Absolutely.
You see, you can't even believe, not just the little lizards, the big, they're in the middle of the road.
Fast.
They're so I told you they can run 11 miles an hour.
Living there, right?
We have a palm tree in front of our house, and then there's a it's kind of like a trellis, and then there's the roof. So they have created a highway. They go up the palm tree, they go over the trellis, and they go up on the roof. And you can watch, like, they're going so fast. But my point is, what do we do to this planet when we selfishly take creatures out of their habitat and bring them into ours for our own reasons?
It is what we're living now. Climate change didn't happen just with chemicals. We have used bleach and Comet and any other name brand wiper, window cleaner. They're all fabulous cleaners, but they create a plume of dust, or they create a residual chemical reaction. It doesn't matter, you're cleaning your counters or you're cleaning your window or whatever. We're using soaps that are not made from soap anymore. It's chemically, our laundry soap, our body soap. In our house, we try to go as chemical free as possible. I have a million things I can be allergic to for some reason. And most of the time it's just right here on my face. I'm so lucky. And I use one plain soap, no flowers, no scent, nothing. It's just got the ingredients on it, says soap. So it's some kind of cleansing system, and I don't need to pump the brand. It's not necessary, but with this brand specifically, I can take this ivory soap, and I've named it, if you're listening, with no color, with no space, but I can use that to wash an animal, and I'm pretty 90% sure I'll not have an allergic reaction, because their plain soap has nothing in it but soap. You see the ingredients. You don't want perfume and all that, and that's lovely. It's lovely when we want to smell nice and we want to have, body spray or whatever, but realize when you spray deodorant, when you spray perfume on you, it goes. It's on your floor, it's on there. Just think about if you have a dog or a cat and you drop some food, who's running over to clean the floor for you first? The dog or the cat. So they're going to lick that off spray of you having put on that deodorant or that perfume or whatever. Your animals are going to be in contact with whatever you use in the house. Bleach is great when you need to really will kill a few things, but use it sparingly. There are natural things now coming out, and they are coming out everywhere. I think you can get it in every supermarket, Target, Walmart, Longs, wherever you shop. You can now get natural cleaning products. And when I think what I heard from my grandparents' age and time was they're using oatmeal, just plain old oatmeal, the stuff you eat, but it creates a friction when it's natural uncooked oatmeal. It creates a little bit of a friction, and they could naturally clean it up with water and oatmeal. Do your research. This is the day and age where everything's online. And look to this show specifically. Let me be really clear. You don't have to go anywhere else than USA Global TV, because Dr. Jacalyn probably has a guest who's already covered it in detail and or brought it up like I have, and encourage you to say, there's so much information that's free online. Your librarian, huge resource. I think people really underestimate the libraries. They still exist. You can still go there. Plenty of people can't afford internet, and they still go there, and they have clubs and programs all the time. At least I know they do in our county. And the librarians are a plethora of education. How do I learn to make chicken soup? They'll say, I've got the book for you. Here it is. It is that simple.
Yes, it's amazing. And so when we think about saving Mother Earth, there are things we can do proactively, and there are things that we can stop doing.
Right.
And we can alter how it is that we're doing them. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. It's like it's a passive agreement saying, okay, I don't have to do these things. So passive just means you're not actively not cutting trees, because you never cut trees in the beginning, but you can support that by maybe planting a tree. Maybe having, for me, all my milkweed is just coming back into season. They're all getting their leaves. I'm so excited. I'm watching two of my 3 pots coming back, and they sarkle. And milkweed, for the monarch butterflies, they are so endangered by chemicals. And I'm talking about Roundup, and I'm talking about hairspray, and I'm talking about companies who still are spewing gas throughout their manufacturing, even though the US is really trying to cut down on that. It's still a process. They can't tell the company, tomorrow, I want you to stop doing that. Well, that's billions, not thousands, billions of dollars of recreation of how they do their business. So yes, it takes time. Some more than others, but it takes time. As long as they move forward, we need to support that. And what we can really do is with your buck, with the good old dollar. If you feel strongly about whatever It is feeding the homeless, feeding stray animals, new plants. We all have passions we love. Find out who's supporting those and then support them. If you are a bird enthusiast, go to all the Audubon or company, go to the clubs, all of these places. And all you have to do is the good old internet and type it all in and say, I would like to find blah, blah, blah. You want to find a senior center and you want to hang out with people your own age with a great conversation. You do the same thing. Do that and find where is the best dog food? Where's the best cat food? Well, guess what? It's going to depend on your cat and your dog. One of the first places I would say is go to your vet. They're going to be up on a lot of things, but vets are of every caliber. Some will say, natural food, I don't think it's a fad. It'll go by the wayside. If it was a fad, it would have already gone by the wayside. So I think we passed the fad part. But you want to find a professional. None of us have time to go back to school and say, I'm going to research, food and this and this. And you might have the time, you might be able to. But we have so many professionals that already have a PhD, a GP, an AS, or whatever after their name, that are passionate. And you might even just have a friend who's so passionate about the topic, they've researched it all. I know people who are allergic to things. I know, Dr. Jacalyn, you and I have talked about it. I'm allergic to things. I'm sure you're allergic to things. And we didn't find out until after the Olympic rash.
Right.
He was like, this isn't a good look. Yeah. Luckily, my hair hadn't fallen out yet or anything like that. I don't got much of it. But you need those experts when you're at that critical point. If your animal's at that critical point and they've got big patches and they're itchy all the time, these are really good symptoms. They're chewing on their toes. Big sign that we got an allergic reaction going on. You need to be at a vet. If your vet says, oh, it's no big deal, just let them chew it, go find another vet. That's just like a doctor saying, oh, it sucks to be you. I was like, excuse me? I thought you were the doctor. Find somebody who will listen and hear you. And somebody who's really in the job, not for whatever, it's a great job, but the passion and love for that animal. Because if they're chewing on their toes, you see this a lot with dogs. They get into contact allergies, they get into soap allergies, and all of a sudden they're chewing their toes off. I've seen it more in dogs and cats, and I don't know why I haven't bothered to look at the science. But if your dogs are chewing on your toes, your pets are chewing on your toes, your children are chewing on their fingers or the dog's toes, that would be bad. It's time to see a doctor. It's time to see a professional and say, wait a minute, what are we doing? And try to clean up your house. I have been a huge, Comet, Lysine, all these different cleaners because I love clean. And then I did the research 20 years ago and found out how much my pets would suffer. If I mopped the floor with a cleaner and then my cat came along while it was wet or she just cleaned her paws, well, guess what? I've just got Lysol or whatever I used. She's got on her paw. So guess what she's going to do? She's going to ingest it. These are why you need vets, and you need to be paying attention to what your pets are doing. Where are they walking? Where is it possible they had a contact? They have these beautiful powders that you can put in your carpet and make the house smell really nice. Well, it's really bad for either a person with allergies or a pet that then, and or the person who creates an allergy by the contact. So be very cognizant of what you're doing and when you do it so that you can track it back and say, oh, you know what? Everybody couldn't breathe in my family very well after I used that product. But if you're not paying attention, it'll take you longer to figure it out.
Got to be paying attention, that's for sure, to know what's going on. So we've covered a lot of points here. And what I'd like us to focus on for the rest of our show, if possible, is when we think about day to day, we know about recycling.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that we as human beings can do to help stop the denigration of the planet, to help do some positive things for the next generations following us to save our planet? Can you think of any?
I have one that I'm told to share with you. So that would be, try your hardest, because again, our whole system of how we buy product and use products has to evolve, and that takes time. But the manufacturers won't do it unless it makes money. It's the next popular thing. So let's all make it popular. And what I would ask everybody to do, if you only can do one thing, especially one thing at a time, get really good at it, and then add another. Stop using single use items. I have, and my daughter has, water bottles all over the house. This one's sitting next to my computer. There's another one sitting next to me. I just washed. It'll go into the living room. We use these. We take them in our car. We take them everywhere. I haven't used a separate cup in probably weeks, because I haven't had like a glass of milk or a glass of juice or anything like that. 99% of my liquid is water, and first of all, I enjoy it. So I am not creating either more dishes that I have to wash, which I don't want to do, and even with a dishwasher, I don't want to do that. So I have the same cup, spoon. I wash it. Say I have a bowl of cereal, I wash it. I use it for something for dinner, because those silverware can be used again. But I've washed one set. There is no reason you have to get out a new plate and a new cup and a new Kleenex box, and when the other one's not even half empty. And do you see what I'm asking? I'm asking you to think one thing at a time. Use one thing at a time. There's no reason to have a new plate, literally another plate out of the cabinet, when you could just wash the one you have. And we have, of course, a dishwasher, but we have a rack. And there sits a plate, cup, forks, and because mostly it's me, and I just use that same 3 things all day long. I have cut down my use of soap, and the dishwasher is like rare. When we have a lot of people over, sure, we'll use a dishwasher. But other than that, my daughter prefers that most of the time, but it takes her 2 months to fill enough dishes in there to run it just for her own use, because I stick to the same things. It really is that easy. And I want it to seem simple, because guess what people will do? You will act. If it feels hard, if it looks hard, we procrastinate and say, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. I want to encourage you to just do that today. Pick one thing. If all it is you have your water bottle, great. That's great. Start there. And then use the same silverware. As some of you know, I have an injury to my hands. And so I actually dug up old silverware from like 1980. It's really light. It's really light. And that's what I need. So I use the same fork, knife. I don't use a knife because I can't cut. Forks and spoon and a bowl all day long. And I wash it. I put it in the drain. I want something else, I wash it again. That's what I'm asking. It can be that simple.
That is simple. I love that.
And look how much work especially you, sorry for interrupting, especially you. Let me take example of your life. You are a quintessential professional businesswoman who is just like, I imagine you as like the Energizer bunny, just running all over your studios and change the background and change this. And you do all of this work yourself. You are a one woman, with the band and the tambourine.
I'm writing at the same time I'm doing all this. I'm writing 3.
I know, because I've written you and you're in the middle of a show and you answer me and think, oh, that was bad. She has enough on her plate. So think about that one man band, you're the one woman band. And if you had just had one cup, one place setting, one plate, whatever bowl, how simple would your life be? Just rinse it out, put it in the drain, take it out when you're ready for the next piece of food. It really is that simple. It really is.
That's a good one. I really like that. I have another one that I would love to have you expand upon. So I haven't been to a dry cleaner in years. But when I was in corporate, I went to a dry cleaner quite often because I was always in a suit.
Right.
And now I only want to wear things that can be washed
Mhm.
by hand or in a machine. So my question is, I don't know if you have expertise in this area, but what actually happens when we wash our clothes in the machine? Where does the water, all the dirt, where does everything end up going? Doesn't it end up back in?
It's
I
in
don't
your
know.
it's in your sewer tank. If you have a tank or you have a city that now has that, most of the sewer septic tanks are gone. But that's what it does. It takes the feces from the toilet, it gets your soap from the shower, it gets your dish soap, and there it goes. This is why there's so much now available, because people finally started making enough squawk about, wait a minute, we want soap that's biodegradable, because what the science was finally sharing with everybody was those items were sitting in landfills for decades. And that's not even the longest amount of time. I'm sure one of it. Nobody's going to have any guess what we did. Like, any kind of what was that guy that digs in a hole? Archaeologists. They're never going to have to figure out what we did for a living or what we have. We have so much junk and so much things in our house. They're going to go, well, here they ate, here they walked, here I have no idea what that lazy chair is for, but here's this. And they're going to have everything because we've left so much trash, so much unused instruments. Now, if you're having heart surgery and they now can sanitize those tools as opposed to throwing them away. If a surgeon in a hospital can do that, and you think, oh, wait a minute, I can't go to that high. But you can, because now that's available in the stores in how you move ahead. We have the same silverware that I can't say I have some of the silverware from college, and I got that from my mom, who got it from her mom's house when they closed. Luckily, my grandparents, not luckily, they passed away, but they were elderly and they died. And I was about when I left for college. I got all that stuff. I got all the furniture. I got everything. I got the silverware. And I still have some of those pieces of silverware. Nobody makes it like that anymore. And that's what I'm asking is, think about, what can you not throw away? I don't know about you, but I find when I visit other people's homes or when I get to know people and I'm in there as friends or whatever, one of the things everybody hates doing, taking out the trash. So make less. Think about, what can I do instead of cellophane or foil that you use once? Think about putting it in a container. Tupperware is a great brand. You use Rubbermaid, whatever you decide works for your fridge, your handling. Try not to buy more than you need. There's always the time where you go, wow, I thought everybody would love that. I don't know about you, Dr. Jacalyn, but I have bought things, that Costco thing looks so good when you walk by, or the thing in the grocery store and it looks so good and you taste it and go, yeah, that's not going to work for me. I have taken food that I freshly cooked. My family didn't want it. There was nothing wrong with it. And like I was explaining to Dr. Jacalyn before we started the show, is I have construction people outside working on one of the houses. That would be the perfect time to say, hey, I've got all this brand new food. Could you use it? And I can't tell you how many times I've done it over the last 10 years and how grateful people are like, oh my gosh, those are great. Especially a bunch of single guys or guys on a work, and they're doing construction. So these guys on this work crew, and it's just like, there's nothing you can't say, okay, well, just thought I had it. Take it to church, take it to a group of your friends, get together and have a, let's clean out our refrigerator party. I don't know, be creative.
I love that way you answer that. It's really true. And I'm thinking, about how much I've changed since 2020 and how my actions have changed. And imagine if each of us were taking the education that's provided here on this platform, as well as Google, as well as, there's
Right.
5 million podcasts out there.
Right.
And instead of just listening, we actually embraced it and took action.
Even just one thing.
One thing.
Go baby steps. I don't care what it is. If your first step is, I can use a water bottle all day. Water's really good for you. It's pretty easy to find. It's pretty easy to get, especially if you like getting the water out of your tap. There's some place you can live and drink it right out of the tap. Some place you can't. But guess what? Water bottles come with filters now. Water bottles come in the one I held up, and I'll show it to everybody again. There's no big deal, but this is PVC free. So it doesn't create more chemicals in my water. And it was like $1 more than probably a cheap one. I didn't compare it. I really, really wanted to get away from, and I can't do glass. It's too heavy for my hands. And so I went with chemical-free plastic, which they make. Why not? And I have had this bottle specifically for over 5 years. And it looks pretty doggone good in that little second you got to see it.
That's a long time. That's amazing.
Yeah. Let me show you another creative thing, because I am the out-of-the-box girl. Okay. Here, let me see. Can I get in the camera? And there.
There you go.
It is what? What do you recognize this as?
A collection tool for urine. I mean, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Rehearse that one.
Doesn't it look like it? You go into the doctor's office and they hand you this?
This is my thumb.
Oh, it's small. Okay. I didn't see how small it was.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, that was so good. I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming.
You asked. I told you what I thought.
And I am showing a urine cup on camera for all decades. Remember, it's that urine conversation. We're going to name that the show. What we can do to save Mother Earth. Have your own urine channel. Okay, it's a pill box.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have guessed that. Yes.
It's not a pill box. It is actually, I bought it from a craft store, and they make these little towers. You can hook them all up, and I just have 2 pieces on this one, so it's not a big deal. But they use this for beads usually, for crafts, so that people who are doing beads, they can just pick it up with the needle and keep doing it. Other people do this, not me. But I have a regimen of vitamins and meds I must take. I have a seizure disorder. Seizures are absolutely no fun. I've had them my whole life. So, and I must take a certain amount of pills at a certain interload to the day. So I keep this, and what's really funny, you're gonna love this. So the lid has tape on it. You ever see that? Has tape on it. Because I cracked it. And everyone's like, well, why did you just get another lid? Well, I do have. It comes in a tower there. I actually bought it from the craft store, and it's for jewelry and little beads. People who make necklaces and bracelets, and those little beads that just run around. Well, you put them in one of these, and it doesn't run around as much. So I decided to change its use. And when the lid cracked, I thought, perfect. I could never remember what dose I was on because it comes as a tower. So I take it all apart. And I put my day's meds and vitamins in it. And the one with had tape on it, guess what? It's the one I'm using today. As opposed to the ones that are, because I can fill up the whole set, which is about, I think, 25 little vials. But I bought it at a craft store, as opposed to buying a bunch of pill boxes that are all individual. And that was too confusing for me, especially when I need to take certain meds at certain times. But what I'm trying to encourage is, and if you're old enough, you know this term, I want you to MacGyver it. Come on, I want you to MacGyver it.
Repurpose.
I want you to take whatever you've got and use it for your purpose. It doesn't have to be what the manufacturer said it was. I knew I was looking for something that would be clear, that would be stackable. So you can see I have little one and I have big ones. And I have a whole set of each. So I can decide. So if I go on a trip, and I'm going to be gone for 10 days, I make 12 of them because, you got the what if. What if
Right.
the luggage
Always,
goes somewhere else?
that's right. It's
So
very
somewhere in
smart.
your purse and somewhere
That's
in your
smart.
luggage. And you have extras in case you stay late or your car breaks down or something. That's what vacation's for, right? For
Right.
the adventure. These are incredibly light. So my hands, and some of you might know, I don't have any cartilage under my thumb. So my hands can open them. They can see through them. I can see if I've taken my pills without opening them. It works for me. And I know enough people who put necklaces and jewelry together that I had the concept of it, because I've never made jewelry in my life. I don't think, maybe in camp. But I went to a craft store and just walked the aisles and said, okay, this is what I needed to do. This is what I needed to function. This is what I needed to look like. It has to be see-through. Buy whatever you want. There is no limit. There's no rule that says this is the only cover you can get for your cell phone. That's it. No, there's like 9 million of them out there.
Right.
They can have pockets. You can put your credit card. You can put your driver's license. Whatever you want to do. Think outside the box of your life. Just because it is done doesn't mean you have to do it. You can create something else. And that's what this whole US Global TV is doing. All of us together are giving you ideas of living better, easier, more creative. I'm glad that I can contribute with my jewelry box.
Yes, I'm glad too. And I just want to thank you for 114 episodes.
Oh, wow.
2+ years of coming here and sharing and giving, and I just honor you for it. And I want to thank the people in the audience who started with us 2 years ago. We were rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I think we had 2 cans and a string, and I was communicating with you out in California.
Yeah.
But it certainly has been quite a journey. I will be speaking to you hopefully in the next few days about maybe changing the name of the show so it really incorporates everything it is that you do
Wonderful.
bring to this world. And just thank you to the audience as well. We really do appreciate it. You can go over to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV. Look for the playlist presenting Pet Psychic AMINAH. I'm going to have to leave that as the playlist forever, but we'll have a second name for it also after we come up with the new name. So
absolutely.
AMINAH, how can people reach out to you, and who would you like to contact you?
I'm going to leave the who in the person that is drawn to reach out when you're looking for that other answer. Not the same thing of trainers are amazing out there. You can get that information from them. I'm going to give you the inside, what your pets are saying, because yes, I can talk to them. I have to ask their permission, but you calling me is the first part, giving me that permission. I would never invade without it. So when you want to know more about me, of course, look at these shows, because you'll hear my voice and how I'm kind of quirky and outside the box. But to look at my big resume, go to bridgingworlds.us. I'm going to spell that for you. BRIDGINGWORLDS.US. And it will link you to my Facebook, where I post a lot of fun animal things and a lot of educational stuff. Because what my whole point is, if I can teach you to do better, you won't need me.
Woo, a moment of silence there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody out there. We wish you a beautiful weekend. Also to our friends over in the UK for the coronation. I know it's going to be on 5 a.m. here, which will be 2 a.m. there. And we'll look forward to chatting more about saving Mother Earth next week. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thanks, AMINAH.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Great night.